Scoot Henderson went from being the Portland Trail Blazers' star rookie to becoming a draft bust. Picked up as the third overall in the 2023 NBA Draft, Henderson was set to inject a level of strength and athleticism into the point guard position that Portland hadn't seen in ages. So far, though, it looks like Scoot Henderson is not living up to the hype. What went wrong? Make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content. Growing up, Scoot was expected to be a basketball prodigy because of his family's love for the game. With a distinctive playing style and long arms inherited from a family of Division I basketball stars, Scoot hit the gym at 5 a.m. in middle school, catching lobs effortlessly. In high school, Scoot continued to make a splash, scoring 49 points and securing a game winner as a sophomore in state tournaments. Climbing the ranks, he became a top guard nationwide, putting up impressive stats in his junior year, averaging 32 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals, leading his team to the state title game. Standing at 6'2" with a 6'9" wingspan, Scoot was a force, displaying explosive moves, seamless shifts, and scoring at any level. Instead of finishing his senior year and heading to college, though, he took a bold step at just 17, ditching both and going pro with the G League Ignite, established in 2020. But it didn't work out the way he expected. The thing is, even with limited games, the G League Ignite doesn't prep players for the NBA grind. Scoot scored 14 points in his debut, and it earned him some praise. But here's the catch. G League isn't NBA. It's more like a scouting gig, similar to AAU ball, where scouts prioritize you over team wins. In these games, it's about flashy skills, not team wins. Think viral dunks and blocks, the stuff that blows up online. But let's be real, these highlights drowned out concerns. Questionable shot choices, assists and turnover issues, and injury worries. But hey, that Euro step? Sick! Guess what happened when Scoot got more playing time the next year? His production shot up, recording a cool 17 points per game. At first glance, it didn't seem like much changed, but Scoot's numbers, 17.6 points and 5 rebounds, were pretty promising. Kinda like his high school days, he was an unconventional draft pick, skipping senior year and diving into a newly developed team. Not many knew a ton about him, but for a guy expected to be top 3, he sure made noise. He played some big games with some major performances, like that showdown against Victor Wembanyama with hundreds of scouts watching. The eye test from these games put him at the top of his class. He wasn't gunning for number 1, but some saw him as a dark horse, a potential top player in the class. And you can't blame them either. He showed potential. Henderson would easily slice through defenders with athleticism, creating opportunities and drawing fouls, about 3 per game, shooting a solid 75% from the line. That gave hope that, despite shooting struggles, there was still a foundation to build on. Next came the NBA Draft. So in the 2023 draft, no one really knew what would happen with him. The general agreement was that he was the second best, considered to be pretty NBA ready. A big part of this was because the guy looked like an adult and was pulling off some decent plays in almost every aspect of the game. Now, when draft night came, the Hornets got the second pick. They already had a point guard carrying the team, so adding another one seemed pointless. And if they weren't planning to trade the pick, choosing Brandon Miller over Henderson seemed like a safer bet. So, Scoot ended up with the Portland Trail Blazers. They had just parted Damian Lillard, leaving a huge gap at the position. They decided to hand Scoot the keys to the offense from day one, and he came in with a solid second place in the preseason Rookie of the Year voting, with everyone expecting him to bring that day one productivity. But it didn't turn out that way at all. Alright, let's talk about Scoot's NBA debut. It was a rough one. Starting with a big fat 0 in his first 2 quarters, his career kicked off as bad as it could get, picking up 4 fouls, sporting a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, abysmal shooting from deep, and struggling to even hit 35% from the field. To add to the misery, he injured his right ankle. Now, a few games aren't enough to judge his NBA potential, but they raise questions about the scouting process. The public and professional scouts seem to miss the mark. Despite being solid in the G League, Scoot's athleticism doesn't match up with the top-tier point guards. Just because he could jump a bit didn't make him the next Ja Morant, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, or Derrick Rose. They needed to adjust their expectations. Scoot was more of a below-the-rim finisher, hitting 50% at the basket and 29% from 3 to 10 feet. Clearly, he wasn't used to the challenges when he tried to Euro-step around every rim protector. The tougher NBA competition was hitting Scoot. It's normal for the competition to get tougher, but for a guy who was supposed to be a ready-to-roll NBA finisher, it stings. The strengths everyone hyped up? Yeah, not shining as bright. And those weaknesses he kept on the lowdown? They were right in your face now. So far, playing in an offensive system, Scoot's decision-making as a playmaker was a bit off. You'd see turnovers, especially since shifting to point guard is one of the trickiest moves in the game with the quicker pace. But some of the mistakes he made, they were just confusing, like pulling up for contested twos. Not a great move. His shot selection needed work, and he was struggling to read the defense. Plus, that reckless playstyle pointed toward more potential injuries. Yeah, he definitely had a rocky start, and it only continued to get worse. So, 5 games in, and it's a downright historically bad kickoff. No sugarcoating it. After missing the next 9 games and getting shuffled to the second unit, coming off the bench, Scoot's struggle bus was still rolling. Even though he was playing a bit better, let's be real, he couldn't have played much worse earlier. These are moments that showed promise, especially when the shots are dropping, but it's tough to get hyped when he was tossing up brick shots in the 3 games before that. Now, we can't write off Scoot this early in his career, but it's more than just adjusting to the NBA game. He needs a serious upgrade in pretty much every part of his game. Sure, there's some groundwork laid, but truth be told, he's way further from being NBA ready than anyone anticipated. This should definitely ring alarm bells for every G League Ignite player gearing up for the future. So, after grinding through 2 years of below-average basketball, Scoot still looks like he just graduated high school. It's pretty surprising if you look at the potential he showed earlier and his expectations of turning into a basketball star. Now, the big question on everyone's mind is whether Scoot can change things up and turn his luck around. That's where the Scoot Henderson situation gets really interesting. At 19, he's had one of the toughest starts to a career, but it doesn't look like he's ready to give up yet. Every reference, past and present, says that whether things are going well or hitting the fan, he's giving it everything to get the job done. He's a 19-year-old labeled a bust right out of the gates. Not a comfy spot. But he could easily turn things around and live up to his potential. Now, it's hard to predict Scoot's future at this stage since anything can change. At this point in his career, it's tough not to label what we've seen as anything other than disappointing. But hey, if history has taught us anything, it's that this kid might just turn things around. If you enjoyed this video, I guarantee you'll like these two as well.